Hello, welcome. Good to see you all this week. It was great to be with you all last week. Yeah, so call to order, welcome, roll call. Oh, wait, this is for, yeah, for today.
And roll call. I am not prepared for roll call, but I can take an official one off camera here. Um,
Yeah, you don't have to do roll call, but
no,
I see, yeah,
nah.
I see.
I'll just track in my notes who's here for things
Yeah,
like stipends and stuff. Thank you.
yeah. Thanks, Zan and Maricela and Tabiti. I think our goal today is just to run over um our upcoming quarterly meeting agenda. So that's what we're gonna do. Melissa, if you and I'll lead us through that. But if Melissa, can you share screen? Look at that draft agenda. Can everybody see that? Making my screen a little bigger. Okay. I don't know, Melissa, if you can make it slightly bigger. Yeah, that's good. Um, all right. Well, here is the draft that we've worked on. I think maybe go to the top, Melissa, just to remind people it's Thursday, December 12th from 10 to 2. We'll be at the Public Service Building in Salem. Strongly encouraging people to show up in person, though, depending on not depending, we'll have a virtual option for those who really need it. But again, we'll be at the Public Services Building in Salem. And we'll start with our standard welcome and roll call. We have a couple of things that we'll have votes on, so they're at the beginning of the agenda. One is the RFA request for application process approval. So we've, as you I think are aware, we've done a fair amount over the summer, spring and summer and fall, late spring, summer and fall on our request for applications, took the items from the third party review, took other things that we knew were, we wanted to sort of improve and refine. So we'll bring to the council and try not to make it too complicated, but kind of run through the high level elements of the request for application, from how the different requests, how we're going to sequence the different requests for applications, what the scoring rubric looks like, because there will be one rubric kind of common to each. Um, some deadlines, the appeals process, which I know staff have worked a fair amount on, some new limitations around both the amount that an organization can be awarded and the number of applications that can be submitted. So all that stuff we'll put into that presentation and then ask for a vote. I think there's a work group meeting, Melissa, tomorrow. And I think that the request for application work group, and I think in that meeting they're going to kind of summarize all the work in some fashion. And so it's kind of, tomorrow's a little bit of a preview of what will be coming to the YDC meeting. That's a little less than a month away. So if you are available for that RFA work group meeting, I think it's midday Pacific time tomorrow.
Yep. And Paul has joined us in this meeting, but it's 12
Hey,
to
Paul.
1:30. It's on Zoom. I can share the link in a moment.
Awesome. Any questions about that? Pretty straightforward. Great. And then the second item for vote is we have two counties, Josephine and Yamhill counties, who have 30-day detention programs that need to be approved by our council. I think we've had a group, excuse me, a group of folks visit those programs and had a chance to talk to the staff. And so I think we're to the point that the Juvenile Justice Committee will bring a recommendation to approve those two plans. or to those two programs, excuse me. So that's the second item. We've got like 15 minutes here. It shouldn't take terribly long, but obviously if there are questions, or I know in our fall meeting, we had a good, I know Jeff asked a really good, just sort of reminder, like what's a 30-day detention program and what does it do? What's it trying to accomplish? It was a good, I think, reminder, and particularly either for maybe some of our newer council members, or just for those who maybe have been around, but it's like been a while. So we'll have, 15 minutes or so for that. But again, I think the Juvenile Justice Committee basically will be bringing that as a recommendation for approval. Any questions on that? Moving to the next one, the GRB stands for Governor's Recommended Budget and Legislative Session Update. So Cord will lead that, just to let people kind of know where our agency budget is sitting within the governor's recommended budget. I don't, right now, as I understand it, we've got the future ready dollar sunsetting. I think they probably got like I think it's around the 10% reduction, if I'm not mistaken, in that budget. So we'll bring some more kind of overview of that. I think another economic forecast though is also scheduled to come out here in the next. It's supposed, it's this month in November, if I'm not mistaken. I actually, as I understand it from folks, like the economist has already made the forecast. Now they're just trying to, like figure out how to present it to the public. I don't know. So any day now we should be seeing where things stand, as far as the broader state economy. It's not, the last forecast wasn't all really bad news. I mean, I think some of the accounts, the revenues are decent. I think one of the challenges is that in this current biennium, there have been some things, fires. Some agencies have needed to put more dollars than they had toward certain crises and emergencies, and those dollars that there's overspending will need to be paid for in the next biennium. So that I think is causing some pressure on the next biennial budget. And then will be interesting to see as the governor puts dollars towards her three main priorities, kind of what that looks like. Right now, we're not slated to see specific dollars in our going to our agency from those three priorities. But there's, so we certainly are in conversations and aware of the other places where, with the Department of Education and their investment in early literacy, with other organizations focused on mental and behavioral health, and then others focused on housing, and homelessness. But again, we've been in some of those conversations, but right now there's not a particular amount that's coming to YDD. It doesn't mean that there won't be important investments that support young people and families. It's just not money that's going to pass through us. That's what I know at this point. And I think in the governor's budget, we won't see any specific dollars, but then the legislature, once it gets into session, it has the ultimate power of the purse, and we'll see, what happens through the legislative session. And then if anything comes up that affects our budget, or if there are any policies or bills that we should be aware of. We're certainly starting to have some conversation and starting to track some things that we know may be coming up in the legislative session. The city of Gresham has, will be seeking, I think, to have its funding continued for its East Metro outreach prevention and intervention program. And there's certainly some other things that we're starting to, just around like violence prevention and youth violence work. So we're kind of tracking some things, and we'll give a deeper update at the meeting. I know, Cord, do you want to say anything quickly about that?
No, I mean, I think
Yeah.
hopefully, I mean, we should have the governor's budget. I don't know if we're going to actually have, I mean, we may know about LCs, but I feel like we're sort of limited in what we
Yeah.
can talk about until there's actually bills, because an LC may
Yeah.
not turn into a bill. But
Yep.
we can probably just share some of the, things that may be trending, maybe to keep it vague.
Yep.
Um, but I think the important thing will be um, the budget and how how that's impacting. I mean, I think that in the grant conversation, there may be some more discussion of specifically how funding is broken out among grant categories. But
Hmm.
we'll talk about sort of the bigger impact of, for example, what's not getting carried forward, and, if we are experiencing any reductions, what that looks like.
Yeah.
Something that I mentioned this to Brian, and Melissa. I don't think I've actually updated you on this, but I have a training I must attend for the first half of the council meeting. So in terms of the order, it may be good to rearrange and do NYEC and the OSBA presentations, uh,
Before.
where I come in, and I'll be able to join around noon, and then I can do the two sections at that time. But I don't think I'll get out
Yeah.
of that. It is my fault. I was irresponsible, missed the training, and they were like, "This is your last chance," and I was like, "I will go. I'll be there."
We can move those around. So we'll get to then. I'm moving forward. Paul, I do see you joined, and I did talk about the RFA process approval at the very top. Was there anything you would want to add there, Paul?
No, it will be, well, I guess the only thing I would add is that we'll go more into detail at the work group and then kind of
Yeah.
summarize the work group conversation, focused on hopefully having more conversation with the council around questions they might have about the
Okay.
approval.
Got it. Thanks, Paul. So
Brian, sorry,
yes,
did I miss how much time we want for the governor's recommended budget? Did you say that and I missed it? Sorry.
I didn't, but we'll sort that out.
Okay. All right,
We'll pick
thanks.
up the times on those. Probably 15, 20 minutes for each of those two things. Then I'm gonna just jump ahead on this screen just with what we've got. We'll do an update on what is it? National Youth Employment Coalition Youth Days. We had spent a little time on that at the retreat. Andy was great. Paul was there too, obviously. Um, we didn't have a couple of our youth members weren't able to be at the planning retreat due to just some other things that came up for them. But who were at Youth Day. So hopefully we'll get Savannah and Alexander at the quarterly meeting, and they can talk a little bit more about NYEC Youth Days. Then Paul and I did a presentation at the Oregon School Board Association. It's now been a couple of weeks, had some other some of our grantees, Douglas ES Education Service District, Portland Public Schools, Redmond School District, and Multnomah Education Service District were all kind of panelists. And it was a really well received group, well received presentation. We actually did the same presentation twice at the Oregon School Board Association conference that was held in Portland. So Paul and I will give a quick recap. Just felt like it was a good sort of, we thought this is a good opportunity to share with people kind of where some of the re-engagement and reconnection work for young people and where what it's looking like, where it's headed. Just there's good work happening in different places around the state, and so we thought we'd use a little time to share kind of what we're seeing in there. Paul, anything else on that?
No,
No.
sorry. I'm eating lunch at the same
Okay.
time. I apologize for my delay.
Oh, eat. Very good. Then we'll move to committee updates. Committees will get their chance, and then any work group pieces that we haven't already covered. Obviously, I'm here in DC at the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention National kind of Youth Justice Conference. So it's interesting to be here. I'll say quickly, certainly lots of talk about, hey, what's going to happen with federal funding. Of course, I'm not learning much, but hearing, that some folks who work at the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention feel like they may that those their work may just kind of be flying under the radar. That's what one person who works there said. But at the same time, we wonder if how what change may happen at the Department of Justice more broadly. So we've got our ears, to the grindstone here. We're listening. Or whatever. We're hoping for whatever little nugget. I don't know that we'll have a one clear answer one way or the other, but it certainly, I'll say, I said to some folks maybe last week, I wondered, like, are we going to come and is everybody just going to kind of be in a particular mood? I'll say this, that from what I'm just being here, there's like nearly 2,500 people here at this conference. And folks there's a lot of good energy. I'll just put it that way. I thought maybe there'd potentially be a little different tone, but the tone that I'm experiencing, at least so far, is, really great work happening in places around the country. Real desire to keep it going strong. Certainly some questions and concern, but a lot of positive and important work has come as a result of this office, and a lot of bipartisan support for the work. Brian Stevenson was this speaker this morning. For those who may have heard of Brian Stevenson, you can look him up. He gave a pretty inspirational plenary presentation this morning. Certainly some elements of it. He had some question. He raised some questions and concerns too. But yeah, I feel like the tone has been pretty positive. Uh, so committees, we'll do public comment. We've done this the last 2 or 3 meetings easily. I'll try to wrap us up with here are kind of a few things that we want to oh, good. Yep. Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency. Did I say OJ? Oh, yes. OJDDP conference. I'm not watching the chat so much. Name of the conference. Good. Quick review. Want to thank, we do have Maricella's terming off. Maricela, we can keep you on the list, and you can come to any and all meetings. You're always invited until you literally, you might have to do one of those, like unsubscribe situations. Like we will just keep involved, and until we get like a very explicit, like stop sending. No, I'm kidding.
Brian, Melissa, that's enough. No, I'm just
Yeah, that's enough. I have many other things to do. No, we just we'll acknowledge that Maricela I need to think more about it. Okay, what to me, I'm just may need you to, I'm gonna throw it. I know the spring, the February, the March meeting may need you to facilitate, and so we need to think about chair, and I just haven't have had all the
It
space.
can be done. The flexibility.
Yes.
I think I told you what I'm doing for a
Yeah.
short period. So definitely much more
She'll be around.
flexibility. Yes.
Appreciate it, Tweety. So
But we'll talk.
yeah, we'll talk. And I think, I don't know if it's on this agenda explicitly, one of the things, and I'll just bring to this group and then we'll let you go. Like, I don't want to take too much more of your time, is dates for 2025. And I know we meet the second Thursday of every month. Dates and times, I guess. But if any of you all assembled, if you have thoughts, I think we heard some feedback from our planning retreat, just around like, how do we make the times and dates work well for young people? So that's an issue we've got to think about. How do we do we want to rethink meetings, right, that where there's like the business part of our meeting, but there's also maybe the interactive like part, because I think what I heard and saw last week is that there was real appreciation for, oh, we're here and we're in the space and we're working together. And I think as we bring in newer people and as we too try to increase like that percentage of council members who are under 27 or 28, like I think there's a real need for us to just continue to be really intentional and to make that space, yes, about some of the business that needs to be handled, but also giving a chance for folks to interact and to build connection and relationship, because I think when we do that, that creates buy-in, creates momentum, creates the kinds of council members, right, who really stick it out for for the 8 years, right, if they can do it. So I don't know that we're going to necessarily have anything like figured out by say March or our March meeting or maybe our June meeting, but I think we'll start to think about, should meetings start later, or should they actually, maybe we do a business meeting that's a couple of hours, but then there's a longer section for like more interactive time. I mean, that's going to put pressure on us to really plan those meetings and make sure that there's that what may be business and what may be actual just kind of relationship building, what that needs to look like. But I know, and I feel like I heard last week that there's some desire to make things a bit more dynamic, and so we need to get our business done. But we may be looking in the coming year, and as we move into later into 2025, some opportunity to think differently about our meetings. So I don't know if anybody has any comments or questions about that, but we try to at least bring that up as a topic in this coming meeting if time allows. Any thoughts from y'all about meetings in 2025?
What do you mean thoughts about meetings? When to
Yeah,
do
like
this?
do you think we should, so to be in last week's planning retreat, I
Yeah.
mean, should we start have them happen later in the day so that
Hmm.
so that it may make it easier for folks, some particularly as we try to get for younger folks to show up at say a late afternoon to evening meeting versus a morning midday
Right.
meeting.
Yeah, I think we need to just really plan that out to
Yeah.
pick a time. And then also maybe we can be strategic and think about a day when the students may be out of school to calibrate a meeting towards. And so even if it's during the day, they're out of school, and that may be something that's viable as well. But whatever we do, it
Mhm.
can't. We're gonna need at least 3 months of marketing and
Yeah,
plan to make sure that
to make sure we can get
achieve
it.
the goal. That's right. Yeah.
Thanks, Tabiti. I don't know, Zan or Maricela, any thoughts?
And we could also just consider the day if we aren't able to do like like an afternoon meeting, perhaps like a Friday where maybe they're not in their core classes. I'm not sure, something like that. I think it's difficult to find a day when they are not in school because those are probably holidays since our youth are spread out.
Mhm.
Well, I think it would just be Janelle. She's the only one in school right now.
Yeah, she's the only one, and I think we will be wanting to recruit. I would describe them, and Zan, I see you came off mute, so but probably a little more young adult
Yeah.
than like under 18. So I imagine if we get a slightly older, maybe 18, 19, 20. Now those young people may be in college, so we'll have to there'll be conflicts no matter how you slice it. But even we're finding even some of our early 20s, kind of early career folks, right? It's still those, feels like that middle of the day can't be hard. So I don't know, Zan, what were your thoughts?
I agree. There will never be anything perfect for everyone.
Yeah.
And maybe what we need to do is kind of split it and have some at
Mhm.
kind of our traditional times and some at a time
Mhm.
that is explicitly
Yeah,
more centered around our youth members or folks
yeah.
that have a harder time pulling away from their core work. I can happily say I will be more flexible next year as long as I'm not taking vacations.
Well, you should definitely take vacations. Um, you can call us in from Greece or wherever. That's fine.
I'll do that.
Tabitha, you have your hand up. You got another thought or question?
Yeah, just and we also remember during the retreat had conversations around trying to target, I mean, all of those who we provide funding to, but especially some of our bigger funders to, I think, collaborate with them to help um, organize and get the students to the meetings, either virtually or in person. And that way, yeah, that way we actually hit the target. So um, let's use them. I mean, yeah, let's utilize them, especially those that are getting the bigger uh, awards. I mean, all, but especially those that are getting the bigger awards. Like, okay, let's help us do this work and let's get them
Yeah.
to the meetings. You know.
That's that you're thanks for that to me because it would reminder of like or one of the breakouts was like yeah let each grantee should be if not required at least strongly encouraged to have one of their young people be a part of our a committee or the council so we could start to probably as we get into that RFA. So Paul, I'm just planting this seed with you. It's probably already been planted, but right, like is there a way that maybe in our for our community investment grants or I don't know which grant specifically, but some way where we say, hey, and in that project planning that happens late summer, fall, we would like you to send us maybe it's a couple, right? Because we
Right.
know those young people and when they come in twos they are it's more likely to kind of be more be successful.
Or two or more. But can I also say it's going to we need to talk a little more about it's going to require our hustle with those organizations.
Yeah, yeah.
That is literally, here's the plan. We're going to call them, then we're going to call them. Like, let's really devise this because I'm just thinking about what we do recruiting wise and just, I'm going to call you, then we're going to call them again, then we're going to reach out and we're going to like really move it along. That kind of hustle to get them to get those kids to that point. But to just say, okay, yeah, bring them, and they go, oh, it slipped me, or I didn't really do it. I think, we want to target those relationships to get to help move them along. So I'll be quiet.
I think we can. I think if we establish a that practice a little bit, make sure that we've got our ducks in a row in terms of what young people may be coming into, which is probably the youth committee first, and then have I hear you to be like the script, the staff. I mean, part of this is just capacity and staffing. I mean, I heard something last week, and I know we're at 4 o'clock, so I'll stop. But we need to think. We're thinking about like as we go into the next meeting, real more dedicated staffing around our youth engagement. So I have advocated, hey, we'd love to retain our limited duration position. Um, our that position currently is within the Future Ready realm, but I'd like to help figure out um, a keep having creating a new position in the next biennium that could do some more of this engagement work and so have some responsibility. Somebody also wondered about our maybe it was Zan, maybe it was you, I can't remember about our communications. Like we don't have communications capacity. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to ask for two positions, but I'm aware, right? Like as we think about this youth related work, we are asking people to do this kind of a just from the kind of from the I don't know the corner of their desk kind of piece. So we need to do a little bit. We'll try to do better, and we'll see if we can't get an actual more dedicated staff capacity on that. Um, so to more to come on that, but part of this, I agree with you, Tabiti, is like the work and if we can use our YDC members to help us with that outreach, we will definitely would appreciate that.
Speaking of that, I'm at the Association of Oregon Counties meeting today and this week, and I'm going to be talking to a couple of commissioners about yeah. And
Yes.
Melissa, if there's any kind of one pager or a particular web page or whatever I should direct people to, please share it with me and I'll do that.
We can send to you, Zan, this kind of one. It's a two-sided, but it's a PDF that's like kind of overview. It's a bit dense. But it's about our youth development council and here's expectations and here's kind of what we want. But it'd be great if you could, we can email that to you. But also any conversation you can have with any electeds, because we need to fill that slot, and any law enforcement or people connections to law enforcement that you may be finding at that meeting. Share this PDF with them, and then we can send it to you too. And it says at the bottom, contact Melissa with questions, or maybe it says contact Melissa and Brian. I can't remember, but we would certainly love to get you all. Okay, and then we're gonna add something to the homepage or to the IDO webpage. So more there, but yeah, any of those, constantly in recruitment mode. All right, we're a little bit past 4. So thanks for 4 o'clock where I am on the East Coast, 1 o'clock, I think, for y'all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order?
We don't have any public guests, so no public comment. If there's anything else before you adjourn us, Maricela.
Cord said something about, yes, youth committee should, talk more about that. Cord, I agree. Awesome.
All right. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you all.
You.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.